According to the announcement, the university is planning to switch from traditional textbooks to electronic textbooks. However, the woman is not looking forward to this. First and foremost, the woman mentioned that the university is not being so realistic because people will need to buy new devices if there's a break. On top of this, many students will want to replace their electronic devices with the newest ones, which means they will end up spending more money. On top of this, the woman also said that the electronic textbooks will only be helpful if they are easy to use. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we'll be covering a task 2 speaking question, and the reading passage is the announcement, okay? So take out your notebooks, grab your writing utensils, and get ready to take some outstanding notes. That's the reading passage. The title is Switch to Electronic Textbooks. Let's read it together. The university will begin switching from traditional textbooks to electronic textbooks early next year. Thank you very much. Planning to switch from traditional textbooks to electronic textbooks. Now let's look for the advantage. University students will be able to download the content of the required textbooks, blah, 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 while the cost of the device is around $200. Okay, considering the rising cost, students will save money. Okay, allow students to save money. Let's listen to the conversation.
Oh no, did you see this?
Yeah, why? You don't like the idea?
Not at all.
How come?
Well, the cost for one thing, they're just not being realistic.
Even compared to the price of textbooks?
Well, sure, textbooks aren't cheap, but do you think people are only going to use one device the whole time they're at university? What happens if yours breaks? You have to buy a new one. Or they come out with some fancy new features. Wouldn't you want to get a new one then?
Yeah, I see what you mean. A lot of people would probably want to replace theirs with the latest version.
Right, maybe even every year, and that can add up.
True, but don't you agree it'll make studying and preparing for classes a lot easier?
I don't think everybody's going to think it's so great.
What do you mean?
Well, it's only helpful if it's easy to use, and, well, this thing is pretty small. It's only about 18 or 20 centimeters tall.
Oh, really? So that means the screen's pretty small.
Right. And I heard that the keypad or control buttons, they're small too. So if you have normal-sized fingers, it's not so easy to select an item or get it to function right. You know, to do stuff like highlighting or underlining.
I hadn't thought of that.
So what good are all those fancy features if it's hard to use them? Besides, I like the old-fashioned way of studying the material, writing notes on the page and underlining or highlighting important sections of the book. I'm more comfortable with that.
The woman expresses her opinion about the university's plan. Briefly summarize the plan, then state her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
According to the announcement, the university is planning to switch from traditional textbooks to electronic textbooks. However, the woman is not looking forward to this. First and foremost, the woman mentioned that the university is not being realistic because people will need to buy new devices if there's a break. In addition to this, many students will want to replace their electronic devices with the newest or latest ones, which means they will end up spending more money. On top of this, the woman also said that the electronic textbooks will only be helpful if they are easy to use. But in the woman's experience, these devices are simply too small. In other words, the keypad will be hard to use for many people because highlighting and underlining will be a huge hassle. Therefore, the woman opposes the university's new plan for these 2 reasons mentioned in the conversation. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. Alright, so after my second reason ended, I only had about 12 seconds left, which is much closer to 10 than it is to 15. So I took this out and said the short ending statement. Alright, now if I had about 15 seconds left, I would have said, even though the school believes that this decision will allow students to save a lot of money, the woman opposes the university's new plan for these 2 reasons mentioned in the conversation. And then I'm done. So It really doesn't matter how many seconds you have left after the second reason ends, because if you have too much, say the second part of the reading's information. But if you don't have enough, say the short ending. And if worst comes to worst, if you don't have enough time for anything, make sure that you use the following intonation so that you can stop your response here and not feel so bad about it, okay? All right, now, I didn't have a lot of time left because I added a lot of words in between. So the easier version for these reasons would be, the university is not being realistic because people will need to buy new devices if there's break. Plus, many students will want to replace their devices with the newest ones, which means they will spend more money. Second reason, the electronic textbooks will only help if they are easy to use. But in the woman's experience, the device is simply too small. As a result, or consequently, the keypad will be hard to use because highlighting and underlining will be a huge hassle. Now, if something is a hassle or a huge hassle, it means that it's a burden, something that's annoying, something that's tedious, something that not many people want to do, okay? All right, that was my sample response. That was the question that I wanted to cover today. If you enjoyed what you heard, saw, and experienced, leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel, share the content, but most importantly, if you are a self-disciplined and dedicated person, reach out to me about my tutoring services. Let's get the score that you need and deserve as quickly as possible. Peace.